Thank you for tuning in to the first episode of the Red Flag Sportscast on YouTube and Apple Podcasts. For our first segment, a weekly segment, we'll go over what is going to be happening in this podcast. So, laundry on the field for this week is we'll be discussing what the most impressive performance from this wild card weekend was, who we think the teams will hire for their new head coaches. Is Dak really a star quarterback for the Cowboys? And we'll be discussing who we think will win in this divisional round this weekend. So I'm here with Brett, Connor, and Alex. And so, Brett, what do you think was the most impressive performance from this wild card weekend?
Well, an honorable mention would be that Brady was sacked 4 times, which is the most out of any week, and it happened against the Eagles, who don't necessarily have the best defense. Jared McKinnon's 5.2 average yards per carry and 82 receiving yards was pretty good, along with Jamar Chase with 9 catches and 116 yards. Mike Evans also had 9 receptions for 117 yards. Devin Singletary had 16 total rushes, 2 touchdowns, and 81 yards. But we got to discuss, like, Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen putting up 5 touchdowns, but Mahomes had 400 plus passing yards and 5 touchdowns within 12 minutes of game time. So that's my pick for the best performance of the week. What do you think, Alex?
I was gonna say Josh Allen because he just went off. I think he had more more touchdown throws than missed or incomplete passes. So I think that that got it for me. What do you think, Connor?
I got to go with the entire Buffalo Bills team. They absolutely smacked the Patriots after losing to them earlier in the season, but mostly Josh Allen.
I was really impressed by how terrible that Devontae Smith did, because they hardly targeted him in the first half. The Eagles did. But on the other hand, Devin Singletary really took me by surprise. He hadn't been doing that good this year, but ended up with 2 touchdowns in that game. And so that really, he can take the Bills far in the playoffs, especially if they beat the Chiefs this weekend.
And yeah, and that's why me and Connor call him Devin single yard carry, because he's not known for putting up more than like 3 yards per carry, and 81 total yards this week and 16. That's about 5 yards per carry, and he had 2 touchdowns, which was really impressive for him. Now, for coaches, there were a lot of opening spots for coaches to go to this next offseason. And honestly, with the Bears, I think that Kevin O'Connell will go to the Bears. First off, the Bears don't have a terrible offense to work with. Top 15 running back, in my opinion. They have a decent young quarterback. He just needs to, get his potential tapped into. They don't have a great O-line, but, picks, trades, free agency, that's what that's for. They have a youngish receiving core and potential for really good players in Mooney and Robinson, which I think Robinson's a free agent this year, correct? So I don't know if he's going to stay with the Bears, but
yeah, he's on the franchise tag this year.
There's no shot he stays.
Yeah, but Kevin O'Connell, I think he's the offensive coordinator for the Rams.
That's correct.
The Rams have a relatively successful offense, and if anybody were to lead the Bears in the right direction, I think it would be Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, I was really surprised by how many head coaching openings there were this offseason, 8 to be exact, because one that I was surprised by was Miami. So the 8, though, I didn't think there were 8 bad coaches. But for the Bears, I'm going to go with Brian Daboll. I think that he has done a really nice job with Josh Allen, and he calls all the plays for their offense. So he definitely has a lot of experience with that. And because their head coach, Sean McDermott of the Bills, he doesn't do that much with the offense as Brian does. And I know the Bears also really like him obviously they would want to hire their GM first, but that's not what we're doing here. We're taking coaches. So right now it looks like he's the most likely for the Bears franchise to pick up. And I think he goes really well with Justin Fields.
I have the Bears hiring Nathaniel Hackett, Packers offensive coordinator. I just think he's done a real good job with the Packers offense. I mean, it helps having Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Jones and David Bakhtiari, but I mean, they've had such a good offense over the last couple years. I can't see why they wouldn't give him a shot.
I agree with Brett. I think Kevin O'Connell would be good for them because I think whoever they choose, that's better than their current or their former head coach would be better because they've got such a young offense, and I mean their line's not the best, but I think they could go they could go way further with better coaching. Yeah.
Now, with the Broncos, I know most of us have Kellen
Oh wait,
Moore.
I can't do that. Never mind. Sorry.
I have
Right.
Kellen Moore. He's young offensive coach out of a mainly successful Cowboys offense, along with hopefully a new quarterback for the Broncos. The defense is already top 10 for the Broncos, but if they want their offense to start rolling, pairing Moore with a rookie QB seems to be a good option for them.
Yeah, I took Kellen Moore too, and basically all the same reason as you, Brett. He's done really nice job with their offense. He runs it pretty much more than their head coach. So I guess it's Connor's turn now.
I have the Broncos hiring Eric Bieniemy. They actually interviewed him earlier today. He's done a really good job with the Chiefs offense. I can't remember if he calls the plays for that offense or not, but if he
split.
Does,
It's
that's just
split. He
another
calls
reason to
them.
hire him.
Yeah, the Andy Reid and him share it. But I think Reid has most.
What about Broncos fan himself, Alex Steflik?
I'm kind of. I think Bieniemy would be good because as a Broncos fan in Kansas, you get more Chiefs games, and but still, I think Bieniemy would be a lot better than. I mean, mostly anybody would be a lot better than Vic Fangio at this point. But I think we have everything we need, and if we can hold off for a quarterback for another year, and maybe keep Drew Lock. I want to keep Drew Lock, and I think if we can keep him for another year with the new head coach, and I think we need a new head coach, offensive coordinator, and special teams coordinator. I think with all of those, I think we could be a lot better than under Vic Fangio,
and potentially a playoff team.
Yeah, I see us as a playoff team. Our play calling just sucks.
Like a 6 or a 7 seed.
I disagree. I think Vic Fangio was a fine head coach, like a bit under average, but he should have gotten at least one more year.
Yeah, he kind of got screwed because he didn't really have a chance.
He's never had a quarterback.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, I think that has a little bit to do with it, but the fact that this year is
their run game's fine.
Yeah,
our run game's awesome.
Williams and Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, I
he
think
never had a good offensive coordinator. Obviously, his defense was always amazing. He was an amazing defensive coordinator with the Bears, but their offensive coordinator never really did very good, and that's not his side of the ball. So he wasn't very good as a play caller on that side of the ball either.
Yeah. I think if we hired him as a defensive coordinator, I'd be happy because we got a really good defense. But I don't think that him as a head coach was the right move for him just yet or at all. Because one big play that comes to mind is I don't remember what the down was, but against the Chiefs, we could have won the game probably because it was I think it was late in the fourth. Anyway, whatever it was, we decided to kick a field goal when we have nothing to lose.
Except for that game.
Yeah, we lost that game. But I think if we would have tried to get the touchdown, we probably would have gotten it. Also, a big thing for me was we didn't. I think even though Melvin Gordon's good and has experience, Javonte Williams had the most tackles or least tackles after contact or most yards after contact. Sorry, and I think that would have helped a lot if we had him as running back number one.
Okay, anyways, off the topic of the Broncos, now we have to deal with the dreaded Jaguars. They haven't won a divisional since 2017 when they had an amazing defense. But before 2017, it was 1999 when they had people like Mark Brunel and Jimmy Smith and Fred Taylor. Suburban trash can Meyer is a disgrace to the Jacksonville team and made them take 10 steps back instead of any forward as a head coach. They need help on offense, defense, special teams, everywhere. And honestly, what better way to fix everything with one of the most successful collegiate coaches of all time, Jim Harbaugh? I think just having him work there with Trevor Lawrence and other players would boost the team to a much higher record. I'm saying 6-11 or 7-10 season.
Yeah, I had Jim Harbaugh there too. He definitely Trevor Lawrence is still a young quarterback. He didn't get much experience with a good NFL coach with Meyer there. But Jim Harbaugh worked wonders for the 49ers when he was there in the early 2010s. When he left, they really plummeted before they finally got Kyle Shanahan and were started running. So Jim Harbaugh can turn their franchise around, I feel like. And if they were ever going to hire any college coach, it would be him in any NFL team.
Yeah, of course. And he's been a great coach from Michigan. Of course, they had a pretty good team this year. I think they made it. Didn't they make it into the playoffs? They were fourth.
Yeah, they were the 3 seed.
3. Okay. Anyways, what do you have, Connor?
The Jags hiring Byron Leftwich. He's just such a good fit for them. Like, the culture needs a turnaround in Jacksonville. He can bring that. I'm pretty sure he had a brief stint in Jacksonville a while back. I'm not sure about that though. And I mean, he can help Trevor Lawrence progress. He can turn their defense around. Just pretty much everything.
It's definitely.
I agree with Connor and Brett on Carl and Brett on this one. I think that, I mean, anybody would be a lot better than Urban Meyer, and they're going to need a lot of help to get back to a decent team, I think. But Harbaugh would be a good pick for them, I think.
Okay, so now we're going to go on to the Dolphins. At the Dolphins, I have Byron Leftwich. A lot of what Connor said, but that reapplies to the Dolphins. I think he can do a good work with Tua, and he's a good fit there. And he would also be a good fit for Jaguars, but I think the Jaguars, the Jim Harbaugh's would do a way better job. He's been a coach before. Byron Leftwich is new, and so the team he would be building in the Dolphins wouldn't. They had an amazing coach in Brian Flores that they fired before. He built a good culture, so their culture doesn't need totally redone. They have a good establishment from their former coach, and so now they're going to move on, and he has a good setup there.
Yeah, now, in my opinion, I think that Eric Bieniemy is going to go to the Dolphins because the Dolphins, they were stupid for letting Flores go in general. But the Dolphins defense is pretty good, and Eric Bieniemy being a first or second year, whenever he decides to, or whenever he is a head coach, I think with a big young offense with Tua and Gaskin and Waddle, I think that Eric Bieniemy as an offensive coordinator and head coach would be pretty good.
Yeah, I agree with Brett.
Dolphins hiring Mike McDaniel, the 49ers offensive coordinator. The Dolphins run game is absolutely horrific. Mike McDaniel and the 49ers run game is absolutely amazing. I can see Jalen Waddle in the same role as Deebo Samuel. I just think that Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins are like a match made in heaven. And I'm pretty sure they interviewed him on like Thursday.
I agree with Brett on this one. after Connor really interrupted me. I think that they have a really strong offense, but I just don't think their head coach was. I mean, their head coach was pretty good. I could see Bieniemy doing wonders there, so I could see that being good.
Okay, for the Vikings, I have Byron Leftwich. He interviewed with the Jags and the Bears already, but I think the Leftwich to Minnesota would be great. In Tampa, he worked with an old quarterback, top three top 50 wide receivers, top 20 running back. Minnesota, he would have two top 30 receivers and a top 75 receiver with potential, and a top 5 running back in Dalvin Cook. The offense would be elite, and the Vikings already plan on getting more defensive help this offseason with their picks. They're supposedly going to take defensive players. So the Vikings could potentially be contenders for the NFC North with if Rodgers leaves.
All right, so for the Vikings, I have Eric Bieniemy. As we've said before, he's half play caller, so he'll take Kirk Cousins. I don't think Kirk Cousins is that bad of a quarterback. He definitely is top 15. He's got good yardage. He's a good touchdown passer, and Justin Jefferson has been a lot good for him. So, Eric Bieniemy can take this offense. He can put some new plays in there, tailor it to their skills, and then they'll get to the playoffs most likely as a wild card, because if the Packers don't lose Rodgers, they're not going to win the North. What about you, Connor?
I have the Vikings hiring Doug Peterson, former Eagles head coach. I mean, he's won a Super Bowl. The Vikings, they haven't won anything important in years. They kind of need some winning culture in that locker room. Doug Peterson could bring that. I also think he should never have been fired in the first place. He had one down year with a horrifically depleted roster. I think they're a perfect fit.
Yeah, I think Leftwich would be good for the Vikings, because they did good in Tampa Bay, but I mean they also had Tom Brady and a bunch of other good players there. So I think he'd be a good fit for Minneapolis because they got Cousins and Jefferson and Thielen and Cook, and I think he could do pretty good there.
For New York, I have Brian Dabble. The New York Giants suck. They need a whole team. They need offensive line help. They need a whole team. He's just I think Brian Dabble's a good start because he's pretty good.
I took Doug Peterson over there, and he did really good job in Eagles. He was another one where he shouldn't have been fired, but that's what happens. So he's a culture setter, and he can do a really good job with their offense too.
I have the Giants hiring Brian Flores. He should have never been fired from the Dolphins in the first place. He completely turned them around. They were projected to go 0-16 the year they hired him. They went 5-11. I think he can do the same thing with the Giants. They already have a decent defense. He can make it even better. They have some potential on offense, but it can be better.
I think wow, bitch. I'm gonna agree with Connor on this one. I think Flores would be a good pick for the Giants because what he did in Miami was good, and I really think he could turn them around.
At the Raiders, I think most of us have Rich Bisaccia going out another run with them. He was their interim coach, if you don't know that, and he took them to the playoffs. You must know, and he just did way better than John Gruden had done with them the past few years and changed their culture.
Yeah, and he went 7-6 in the last 3 games with wins against playoff or potential playoff teams in the Colts, Ravens, and Chargers. Now the Texans, I have them picking up Brian Flores because they don't want to lose Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson said he wants to play with Flores, and I think that the Texans will pick him up.
Yeah, Flores wants to play with Watson. I know if he goes to New York, the ownership doesn't really like Watson. So this will be a chance to get him there. And the Texans want Deshaun Watson to come back. So he'll be right in there with Deshaun Watson, and Davis Mills will get some good trade value in the future.
I have the Texans promoting Pep Hamilton from quarterbacks coach to head coach. I mean, he's worked wonders with Davis Mills. I mean, he's an amazing quarterbacks coach. And they interviewed Jake McCown for their head coach today. Like, I don't understand why they wouldn't just hire someone from the organization. It just doesn't make sense to me why they're doing what they're doing.
Okay, our next discussion is going to be on whether we think Dak is a good quarterback, or not a good quarterback, but if he's overrated or not. Brett,
If he's a star, which, to be honest, he's not. He's a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong. He's top 15, like right at 15, but he's not. He's so overrated. Like, people act like he's top 5. He's there with Mahomes and Allen and Rodgers and Brady, but he's really not. Like, there's so many players that are underrated compared to him and are better than him but don't get the credit. Justin Herbert, for example, is probably top 5. If not,
Justin Herbert is top 3. He is 3rd.
Shut up.
Be quiet.
But there's quarterbacks that are way better than him that don't get the credit. Like, honestly, people like I'm trying to think of an underrated.
I definitely don't think he'll ever be going to a Super Bowl, let alone an NFC championship.
Well,
It's
these
almost
days
been
with the
10,000 days.
Cowboys.
It's almost been 10,000 days since the Cowboys last made the Super Bowl.
If he stays with the Cowboys, they always choke first round anyway, so there's no point in them going
the furthest he'll probably go is the divisional
NFC
round.
championship.
And
Until
they're gonna
Jerry
choke.
Jones steps down, the Cowboys will not find success.
Okay, but here's the thing. This is why I say that that Dak isn't top or isn't as good as people give him credit for. It's because he has one of the best receiving corps in the NFL with Gallup, Lamb, and Cooper. They're
He
all
didn't have Gallup in that playoff game, though.
but still, their coaching is okay. Okay, don't. But I'm not gonna.
No, their coaching is. Mike
Okay.
McCarthy should be fired.
Mike
anyways-
McCarthy's
wasn't
definitely
he
not
fired?
the worst, but
No.
he's not gonna take them to the Super Bowl. He was fired from the Packers for a reason, and the Packers are a very good organization who make very good decisions. So they can't
Except for
expect
drafting
him
Jordan Love.
to win a Super Bowl.
And of course, they have one of the best running back duos in the NFL too, with Zeke and Pollard.
Pollard's
a
better.
baller, by the way. Yep. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Zeke's just getting old.
Washed.
Yeah, he's washed. But there's with how good their offense could be and how good their defense is, especially since they have Parsons and who's the other linebacker?
Trayvon Diggs.
Yeah.
Trayvon.
Also overrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me
AJ
about
Terrell,
that.
better.
He's led off the most yards in the NFL to his
Hey, numbers
coverage,
don't mean
and
anything.
He's a Pro Bowler, an All Pro. Like, what the heck is going on with that?
AJ Terrell is better.
AJ Terrell's better.
Hang on. I got it saved on my phone somewhere. Let me find it. He's
I'm just
never allowed more than 35 yards in a game, only 23 catches on the season, and has the highest coverage grade in the NFL and didn't even make the Pro Bowl.
yeah.
I think Terrell got robbed, but I think he's overrated because, once again, me being a Broncos fan, that's all I know about. I never watched the Cowgirls. Anyway, I think like I watched a couple plays, I think I remember, but one of them was, I think, a touchdown pass to Tim Patrick. Tim Patrick absolutely smoked him. Like, he had 5 or 6 yards on him by the time he got the ball, and he's just overrated. The only reason I think he's
And then
so high up there is because isn't he a rookie?
yeah.
He's
He
a
got
second
fathered by
year.
Cam Sims.
Yeah,
He got
was getting
absolutely
smacked by the
mopped.
49. He was getting smacked by the 49ers. Like, how many
Brandon
yards?
Ayuk was routing this man
Let me look
up.
that up. Actually, I'm gonna look that up. How many yards?
Brandon Ayuk didn't get very many yards in that game because Jimmy Garoppolo sucks, but
Yeah, he's led up over 1,000 yards. Like I said, the most in the league. And unless he has the ball coming right towards him, like there was this one interception in the Chiefs game. It happened with the Broncos too, but he he caught an interception from Patrick Mahomes, and then it was Tony Romo and Jim Nantz calling the game, and Tony Romo was just raving about how good he was, but it was not a good play at all. It was once again a tip pass by Tyreek Hill, something that happened like 20 times this year, and he caught it off of Tyreek Hill. It was nothing to do with a Patrick Mahomes mistake or a smart play by Trayvon Diggs.
It just kind of went into his arms.
Yeah,
He's a ball hawk, but you can't really be a ball hawk if your coverage skills suck.
yeah,
11 Mickey Mouse interceptions.
yeah. Like
I
I said,
think-
that's a lot of interceptions, but it just comes to him many by accident, and that's not what you judge a good cornerback on. I wouldn't want him on my team because of how many big plays he gives up.
Yeah, and of course there's that, and then there's the people that were saying that he deserves Defensive Player of the Year when he's not even close to the
He's not
success
even
that TJ.
he's not even the best
TJ
defensive
Watt
player of the year candidate on his
playing
team.
The TJ Watt carried the Steelers to the playoffs, and you can't tell me I'm wrong because Big Ben sucks and everybody else on that team is god awful.
Najee Harris isn't too bad.
What I mean,
Deontay Johnson is
their
borderline.
O-line, their O-line
The way
sucks,
he
their
played
quarterback
was
sucks,
very good.
and their defense sucks too. But well, except for TJ Watt, of course. But TJ Watt absolutely
Cam Hayward?
smoked. What?
Minka?
That's their defense as a whole. They have you seen their points allowed? Their
No.
defense as a whole is terrible. But anyways, yeah, TJ Watt carried that entire team.
Well, I think we're going to move on to our divisional round predictions. Who you got in the Titans and Bengals game? That's going on that'll be on CBS on Saturday. So who you got, Brett?
I have the Bengals beating the Titans 30-21. The Titans are a decent team, but I think that the Bengals. I have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins putting up over 100 yards both.
Is there anybody here that doesn't have the Bengals?
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
I have the
Bengals are gonna-
Bengals winning.
I think we can
Titans
all
have
agree that Jamar
31st
Chase is a monster and that Ryan Tannehill cannot overcome. Yeah, AJ Brown is good, but he's not going to be able to overcome.
But he's not Jamar Chase.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the rushing,
everybody-
the amount they rush, it's going to take too much time for them to do that.
Now the Bengals don't have a great rushing defense, but I don't think with the offensive power of the Bengals that the Titans will be able to catch up. Honestly,
The Titans have the 31st ranked pass defense. The
And that's-
Bengals have a top 2 receiving core with a top 5 quarterback.
and that's all you
Yeah.
need to know.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
then at 7:15 over on Fox, we've got the Packers 49ers. Who you got, Alex?
49ers. I'm
Why?
just kidding. I got the Packers. I just think Aaron Rodgers is doing great. Adams is doing great. I mean, I don't know much about like the Packers or Niners, but I think the Packers are just gonna. I think it's gonna be a close game, but I think it's just gonna be the Packers are gonna come out on top.
All right. The Packers versus the 49ers. Now, the last 3 times the 49ers and the Packers have played in the playoffs, the 49ers have won, but this time it's going to be different. I still think it's going to be a close game, 31-27, but the Packers just they have a top 10 defense. Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the league. They have one of the best running back duos in Dylan and Jones. They also have a decent receiving core. They of course they have Devontae Adams, but Valdez Scantling and Lazard are also very underrated in my opinion.
What do you think, Connor?
I definitely
Packers
think that
win. Packers are my Super Bowl pick. Aaron Rodgers is winning MVP 2 years in a row. It's really all I can say.
I definitely
49ers,
think that
they're going in the
Rodgers
Lambeau.
is mad about the last few 49er wins in the playoffs. So definitely try to get back to the NFC Championship, but I'm not sure if he's going to have enough to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Now, when do the Chiefs and the Bills play?
They're going to be over on CBS at 5:30 Sunday. So what do you think, Connor?
I think Bills win. Rashad Fenton, I don't think he's going to play. One of their better DBs. Josh Allen is going to tear their defense apart on the ground and through the air. Stephon Diggs is going to have a game. Devin Singletary, if he can keep doing what he's been doing, I think the Bills win. The Bills
I'm gonna
defense
have
is
to
good
agree
enough
on.
to stop Mahomes. They have the two high safeties. They can stop Tyreek Hill and Kelsey.
They
can
can't stop
contain
Kelsey.
that
There's no
offense.
stopping Kelsey. Kelsey is the greatest receiver on the Chiefs. But no. Okay, so the Bills are out for vengeance. Of course, they've lost. They lost the last time. Stephon Diggs is he stayed on the field and watched their celebration. We all know the story, but I still think that the Chiefs edge out the Bills and barely beat them 27-24. I have the Chiefs and the Bills both have bottom 15 running backs. And I think I don't think CEH isn't going to be healthy, right? He's not going
He
to
is
play.
very good chance to play.
Oh, well,
And then
I honestly think
Edwards
that
Alaire's going to play. Williams isn't.
but the Chiefs with
And
I
then-
honestly think they have a better success rate putting in Jared McKinnon than they do with Clyde Edwards-Helaire because he played
Yeah.
so good last week and the week before too, even though he didn't get very many touches. He's just been doing better than what we've seen in Clyde the last couple of weeks.
And then another injury update is that Rashad Fenton, he's still a little hurt, but he has a pretty good chance to play too. And
Oh, I was
uh,
banking on him not playing.
so, and even if he doesn't play, I don't think that he's their best corner. Like him and Ward and Sneed, they all complement each other's very well. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if one is better than the other. They're very complementary. And then
They're all very mid.
Well, of course, as long as we don't have shoot, who's our really bad corner?
All of them.
no,
No,
Well,
Sorensen.
Willie
As
Gay
long
is
as we
gonna
don't
be
have,
playing.
dude,
Sorensen's a safety.
I don't care what Sorensen
well, he
is. as
plays
long-
corner for us for some reason, anyways. Like, what is
Yeah.
wrong with Spags playing him at corner?
Okay,
I'm
but
gonna
here's the thing.
take the Chiefs in this one because as Connor said about the revenge, or maybe it was Brett,
That was
Yeah,
the
Brett.
Chiefs also were very like-
vengeful.
they were trounced by the Bills in week 5, and like that didn't put a very good picture on them, and they want to get their picture back to where they got it before.
Yeah, and of course, as long as they don't play Sorensen on Stephon Diggs, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, or Knox again. That was a big problem
Yeah.
back in
They need to
Dawson
put
Knox
Snead on
is
him.
legit.
They need to
Yeah.
put Snead on him.
I think
Is
Knox
Willie
not
Gay
gonna
gonna play? Does anyone have
Willie
an update?
Gay
He
is
got
gonna
arrested.
play.
He is.
Yeah, but
Andy
was
Reid updated.
it was a
that.
misdemeanor because he broke a vacuum. He shouldn't even have
Yeah,
gotten arrested.
that was so dumb. Like, don't doors and walls get broken every day? Like,
Yeah, by me most of the time when I'm raging in a game.
like I'm not gonna call the cops because you smashed my vacuum on the floor. I'm gonna
I think that was
ask you
sexual
to
assault on
buy
the
me a
vacuum
new
thing.
vacuum. But
Yeah. I have I got the Bills win this game. And no,
It's
it's
because
not
you're a
because I'm
Broncos fan. Be
No,
quiet.
it's not. I think if Josh Allen and Singletary can keep up what they did last week, they're going to be big trouble for the Chiefs. I don't see the Chiefs being able to pull this one off against them.
Other than that, the only game that's left is the Rams and the Bucks.
yep, that'll be 3 hours before at 2:00 on NBC. What are you thinking, Alex?
I'm going Rams. I think that I don't know. I have the Rams going to the Super Bowl against the Bills this year. Well, yeah, against the Bills this year. I just think that the Rams they got a good quarterback in Matthew Stafford, who is, I say, extremely underrated.
A good quarterback.
I think he's good. He's the only quarterback to not go to a Super Bowl and have 40,000 passing yards. That might even be a playoff game.
That's because he played on the Lions for most of his career.
I
No,
know.
he had
And he has,
Megatron. He had Megatron and made the playoffs like what? Once, twice?
And then he lost.
yeah,
Yeah.
he doesn't have any playoff wins. And he has
Stafford's a
40,000
fraud.
yards.
Stafford is fraudulent.
You can take Stafford out of Detroit, but you can't take the Detroit out of Stafford.
Stafford is a fraud, but I still think the Rams are going to win.
Yeah,
This is just
I
my
think-
Tom Brady hate speaking, but
yeah.
I think
Well, the Bucks.
this
The
is
Bucks.
as
sorry.
much of a toss-up game as we've got this weekend. You know, it could go either way, really. The Rams took it back at the beginning of the season, but I'm not sure that the Buccaneers are that mad about that loss. And so they're both really talented teams and match up very well. It's going to be a really close game, and I honestly don't have a pick for them.
Oh, it's an easy pick for me. 24-14 Rams. The Rams and the Bucks both have good defenses, but the Bucks don't have any receivers. They don't have their running back. They don't have anything. And Tom Brady's been playing like crap the last couple weeks.
did you not see how Mike Evans played last week?
Yeah, that's because they were against the Eagles. What's the Eagles?
Okay,
ranking
who else
in
was there?
passing
Mike
offense?
Evans and who else?
Tyler
it.
Johnson, baby.
Who?
Yeah, but against Stafford and McVay, Merchant, Cooper Cup, nothing. They don't. The Rams defense is much. Their passing defense is much harder to beat than the Eagles. I think the Rams will lock them down. I think the Rams will destroy the Bucks defense with their rushing and anything.
I also think Von Miller is going to get a couple sacks. Maybe not a couple, but he's
That's
going to
the
be a big
Broncos
threat to
fans.
Tom
You're
You're
Brady.
saying that. Of course you're saying that.
Okay, maybe
Well-
it is, but I think Miller is going to be a threat to Brady, just because he's been in the playoffs before. I know it's been a
Yeah.
long time, but he's been in the playoffs before, and I think he knows what to do. And like,
Yeah, and of course you've got the fact of the matter is I'm pretty sure that the Bucks have a couple hurt players on their O-line, and of course
Is Tristan Wirfs going to play?
I don't know, but that's not what I'm saying. Is the Bucks O-line? I know there's some injuries on it, and the Eagles don't have Von Miller and I can't remember his name now. Aaron Donald. They don't have Aaron Donald either.
yeah,
Both of those two, if they get sent on anything and the Bucks mess up at all, it's a sack, it's a loss, it's just game over.
Yeah, well, Aaron Donald's going to get beat on one rep by a second stringer and start choking him out. So
Well, just so you guys know, Tristan Wirfs is questionable, but we'll see how
if he
this
doesn't
plays
play,
out.
the Rams win. If he plays, it's more of a toss-up. Is Jensen Bennett going to play? Whoever their center is.
Questionable too.
Jensen Bennett, both of your brothers' names.
I just realized that.
Well,
dang, I didn't know your brothers will not play in the NFL.
we'll see
Oh, yeah.
how this plays out this weekend. Thank you for tuning in to the first episode of Red Flag. If you're watching over on Connor's or Brett's YouTube channels, head over to the official Red Flag YouTube channel at Red Flag Sports. If you're watching on or if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, check out our YouTube channel to get some good visuals, and we'll see you next week.